Hey, Lindsay, can you hear me?
Good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us tonight for Hill Country Happy Hour. Texas Hill Country Wineries has been hosting these live Facebook happy hours for almost 2 months now, and they've been a great way for all of us to connect while we continue to social distance. Each week, we have a different group of THCW member wineries talking about a variety of topics. And this week, we are focusing on newly released wines from 4 of our member wineries. So please feel free to ask any questions that you may have in the comments here on Facebook. And I'm going to be relaying those questions to our panel. And so without further ado, I'd love to introduce you to tonight's panel, which includes Doug Lewis with Lewis Wines, Andrew Sides with Lost Straw Cellars, Chris Brundrett with William Chris Vineyards, and John Rivenburgh with Kerrville Hills Winery. And he is also the Texas Hill Country Winery's Vice President. So without further ado, I'll let John take it away from here.
Hello, everybody. Sorry for the technical difficulties getting started, but we're here now. And this is an exciting one. I'm here with some of my really close friends and colleagues in this business. A lot of us have been grinding out wines for a long time now. And I'm really stoked to be tasting some of these wines tonight. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go through a tasting. We're going to taste 4 really, really fun wines. And y'all have the opportunity to ask the producers, ask the people that are growing it, ask the people that are making it, all the fun questions that you want to. So without dragging my feet too much, we're going to start off tonight with a really nice wine. It's the Lost Draw, new release Picpoul Blanc from Timmins Vineyard. We're going to start up with Mr. Andrew Sides. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the wine, Andy?
First, I just want to say thank you to the Bar family. We're actually at their tasting room here in Mason. If you haven't been out here, it's a cool spot where Chris and I are actually kayaking today, so that's why we're here together. And this Picpoul is a great way to generally start a tasting. This is the 5th vintage. Yeah. This is the fifth vintage in a row that we've done Picpoul, so it's kind of exciting. I believe that we were like at the Timmins Estate. This was the first planting. Was the first planting of Picpoul in Texas. Now I know there's several other vineyards, but I really like this wine and its versatility. We always make this wine really acid driven is always the goal. There's been some years that the fruit's gotten a little bit riper and it's become a little bit more tropical fruit. 19 was definitely a year I feel like we got it about where we want it every single time. And it's a great for Texas. It loves the dry heat. It's a wine that's great to consume in Texas as well. It's really light, aromatic, crisp, all the good things you like in a wine that's chilled, easy to drink during the summertime. We always release it about this time in the year, and I don't know, it's pretty good. What do you guys think?
Delicious. All stainless?
This is 100% stainless steel, fermented and aged. We've done that from the very beginning. I know that John's experimented doing some pick pull, some other ways, but our production method for this has always been the same. Really want to retain a lot of acidity and aromatics. We generally pick, this is usually the last white grape that we pick in the season, but usually the first to bottle. So it spends very little time aging, and we get it fermented stable and bottle it. So it's a pretty fun wine to make, and I like having this wine. It's pretty easy to knock back a whole bottle pretty
I already bought a 6-pack, like pre-bought a 6-pack.
This is
3 bottles left.
Andrew, this is a great representation of peak pool, man. This reminds me of the Depanay, the stuff that I fell in love with when we first started working with peak pool. When I kind of, Andy and I started talking about it a while back. I love the like bright, sharp, acid driven nature. I love that you guys are doing it like that. I did make one on the skins with the ML finish, just because I wanted to do something different than what you guys were doing. I guess the first year y'all made it. And then I think Kim got a little bit too the year after, maybe. But this is, man, y'all have been like honing your skills on this for sure, because this is really great. This 19 is like exactly what peak pool should be. It's got great kind of lemon rind and nice balance between the acidity and the mid palate. I like it, man. It's really good.
Yeah, we've really experimented with like when to pick it during the year, just based on where sugar's at, and you're never really going to have a problem with acid. Obviously, your TA and pH with pick pool is always going to be really nice. So we have, like last year in 2018, we hung it a little bit longer just to see. It's very rare that we see white grapes in Texas that are getting up to like 23, 24 bricks, but still having like 3, 4 pH. It's just like something we don't see very often. And so as it kept ripening, we kept watching those the TA and the pH numbers, and it was just like, well, let's just hang it and see what happens. And I'll be honest, like last year's wasn't my favorite because it wasn't a true, like what I in my mind think of as a representation of what peak pool should be. It was a little bit more tropical fruit, a little rounder.
Beeswax.
Yeah. It was still great, but I love it when it's like this, when it's really light, very lean, but as that acid really drives through. And this was picked at about 22 bricks and about 3.3 pH.
It'll do it for sure. That's nice. So
lip stinger, yeah, that's what.
Yeah, I still have a lip stinger T-shirt I made in 09 from back in the day. Hey, I got a question on Facebook. They wanted to know, since you guys were kayaking, did y'all share a kayak, or were y'all
social distancing?
We did.
I actually had my son with me,
and I had my daughter June.
Yeah,
we had a great day. We were Mike Nelson from Mastris was with us. It was tough though, because Doug still has my paddle. Thanks a lot, Doug.
He was giving me a lot of about that.
Yeah, I was like, thanks a lot, Doug. You're on mute, Doug, by the way. Doug, you're on mute if you can hear. Yeah.
Doug, you're on mute, man.
Yeah, you're on mute. But that was beautiful. I said never been out to Mason.
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Put yourself back on mute.
What was that?
Put yourself back on mute. I tell you what, for all our viewers out there, if you ever get a chance to come to Mason, not only is the kayaking fantastic, we grow a lot of grapes out here. I think we all share vineyards out of Mason. Our Vineyards has opened up. They do a fantastic job in McLaughlin with Robert Clay. That's a winery here too, share space. And I highly recommend both of those brands, and it's great to see turning up here and getting in the wine business is pretty exciting.
Happening spot here in Mason.
Hey, so I got a question for you guys. I literally just drove in from the High Plains and like jumped out of my truck at 5:30. Was it raining in the hill country today? Did it like rain during the day?
Flooding.
Yeah.
Fredericksburg got hammered. Like I heard like 2 inches in an hour or something like that. So
like, okay. That's crazy. Well, rain's good.
One more quick note about the pick pool, since you mentioned you're in the High Plains. If you haven't got the 19 pick pool plus, you should probably get it, because there will not be a 2020 pick pool. It's just not going to make it this year. And it's kind of sad, because it'll be the first year since 2014 that we have not had pick pool blanc. And super sad, but you know, it's happened in farming.
You know, and the Lost Rod inspired us so very much last year that our crew is doing a 2019 pick pool as well. So if you dig this, we're going to take a stab at it and hopefully get your
Yeah, we're doing concrete, right?
Yeah, we did most of it in concrete. We also did fermented. We're kind of trying to put those back together so you can get it. It was actually the same day, so you can get another look at it. But you guys are so inspired. Lost Rod, it's just been, it's all I want to drink all summer long.
Yeah, there's a lot of pick pool out there now. I mean, I say a lot. It's but
there's a lot less now because I've drank half the bottle since I want to put it in the snorkel and keep going.
Yeah, there's a couple of places that still have. There's a couple of places that still have a little bit, but not. I mean, it's going to be nowhere.
Where is it? Tell me their names.
Yeah, Chris, come on, man. You know me better than that, dude.
I love you. Was smoked in 2020. So.
Hey, I got another question on Facebook. Is Mason going to be a new AVA?
We're sure working on it. I think the you know, I don't know. I haven't talked to Rob and Dan at length about it, but if you get a chance, we obviously have a lot of single vineyard wine from Mason County, but if we're working on in the Hickory Sands blend, and you know, all the way up from north of Vicksburg, you get the middle and I feel like here. Is it the lower Hickory here, or is it it's the lower Hickory, right? Hickory Sands, yeah. So it's decomposed granite over sandstone, so you can pick those wines out of the lineup. Really beautiful, and they're very distinct. And I don't think it will be a Mason County AVA. I think it's probably going to. And now you probably ask 100 different people, you get 100 different answers. But I think you know, Hickory Sands AVA, I think, would be a lot more appropriate, or something like that, because it is really incredible. I know Doug makes wine from Ross as well, or from Vineyards, from town, and you can really get a really distinct. You get such a sense of place when you drink those wines.
Yeah. Hey, we got another question off of Facebook. Andrew, somebody's asking for you to give the tasting notes on your peak pool.
The tasting notes?
Yeah. Or I guess for me,
delicious.
Yeah, you're drinking it, John. You can't give tasting notes for me?
Well, I mean, I planted it in 08, so I mean, I've got a couple notes on it. This one's probably the best one I've had. I mean, well, you know, it's gonna be that kind of night. We're just gonna work with facts.
Well, let's get to drinking then, because we can start.
If this is probably the best one I've had, dude. We just released one somewhere else down the road, and this is better. I mean, I gotta say, I like this better than the one I bottled about a month ago, and I mean, I literally like the lemon rind, and the balance of the acid on this is like ridiculously perfect for peak pool. I mean, it couldn't be more like, if you blindfolded me, I would feel like I'm tasting a wine from the Languedoc. Like this is like perfect people de Panay all day, dude. It's
yeah.
Do you guys get a little hint of like just fresh cut celery, that like fresh greenness? It's like that little grassy note that I really, really love. It's like the fifth thing. It's not the first thing, which I always find super appealing. Like some Sauv Blanc smells like fresh craft, and celery is not the first thing. Is this when you get into those notes, I find like the finesse of this wine. It's really lip smacking good. Lip stinging and it sings. Yes. Douglas, you're awfully quiet over there. I know you got something to say. I see it on your. I can see it.
Hard to get a word in. I like the wine a lot. It's delicious. I think the one John's referring to is one I'm familiar with as well. It's kind of like a Blue Label, John. The French one you're talking about. Yeah. This one reminds me of that a lot in a lot of good ways. I definitely think it's one of the better pick pools I've had, from anywhere. Not no holds barred. It's the first time I've tried it today. I really like it. To me, you guys keep talking about the lemon rind. I agree. I get that a lot. It's something that I would like. You make like shrimp scampi or shrimp cappy or something like that with a little lemon rind zest, lemon zest, something like that. I think would be a great pairing. I like the chalkiness to the finish. It's something that I feel like I get from a lot of High Plains vineyards, and it's nice. Andrew, I couldn't hear you clearly when you said how old the vines were, but I'm interested to know. Just it seems like there's a little more complexity to this wine. Like it's not a 3 or 4 year old vineyard anymore.
Yeah, it's 8. I think it's 8 years now.
That's nice, man. To me, the chalkiness on the finish is kind of the key thing that I think really, like, you get it a little bit on wines from younger vineyards up there, but when you got a vineyard a little more aged like this, I think it really starts to become more pronounced.
Yeah.
This is from Katie's house. So it's like right on the western edge of it's right out, technically outside of the city limits. So there's a lot more clay in that soil. It's a lot redder. There's a little bit more organic matter in there, and it holds water a little bit more, which isn't always frankly a great thing for that part of the world. But I think that we all make from there. Mourvèdre from there, and you definitely get a significantly different profile and a little bit more minerality.
The minerality really shows through the Marsanne a lot as well from this same vineyard.
I would say for the Mourvèdre as well as for the Rosé, both the Rosé of Mourvèdre and the red Mourvèdre.
Yeah.
Andrew, how much did you guys make?
We made 6 tons for ourselves, and Chris got some as well this year. Kim didn't get any this year.
So if I wanted to get a case, I still could.
Oh yeah, there's like 225 cases, something like that.
Nice. Yeah, if I was gonna buy a bottle of white wine to see how it changed over the next 5 to 10 years, this would be pretty high on my list.
Actually opened a bottle of our 2016 pick pool probably 2 weeks ago. We actually did a whole lineup of them, and the 16 was like showing some really cool. What's amazing about the wine is like most white wines, especially that we've made, they don't really retain the acidity very well, like through aging. And this one, it just like almost like balanced it a little bit more. You get like slight oxidation, but it shows through, but it still tastes really good because it's just the acid still there.
Nice.
Hey guys, I'm getting some notes that we need to move on to the next wine, and I'm actually like, this next wine is Lewis Wines Rosé 2019. I actually have had this one. I really like this rosé, Doug. It's nice, man. I think I sent you a picture. We were drinking it on the patio one day, and I still need to get a case of this stuff from you. Tell us about this wine, man.
It's a wine I really like making. It's actually from younger vineyards. That's one reason I was asking Andrew about the minerality on that pick pool, because these vines are not as old. Actually, farmed by the same guy. All this fruit's from La Pradera, which Andy's farming. I think it's just a simple, quaffable, drinkable wine. I really focus on minimizing extraction on tannins, so that the texture is really, really soft. in years where I think the alcohol or tannins are going to be more significant, I kind of up the portion of Sunso to soften up the wine more. 19 being a like kind of wetter vintage with more production, more yields, you know, not necessarily really concentrated wines. I decided to put a little more Carignan and more vet in to get a little more, you know, grip and texture. Almost all of it was hand picked. We did actually machine harvest the Sunso just because I don't really feel like get much of an issue with extraction of that variety. I like skin ferments and so for red wine, and it still comes out like rosé, so I don't really mind machine harvesting that. But the rest we hand pick and we'll cluster press to get, you know, as little extraction as possible, and, you know, try and keep the alcohol low, and, you know, within reason. So when it gets real hot outside, it's easy to drink.
The first thing I noticed on this wine, and every time, and I'm a huge fan of just a wine that's got a great nose. And if a wine's got a great nose, I'm gonna go after it, like, and just really explore it more. But this wine, you put it to your nose, man, and it's for rosé, it's got such a just huge nose to it for me, and I really like that a lot. I just got a question. Which rosé just sold out? The 2019 just came out? ? Like, I guess the question is this sold out?
Correct. So 2018 sold out a few weeks ago. I don't remember the date exactly. I'm in Corona time. You know what I mean? It's starting to lose sense of time. No, I'm not exactly sure. It's 2 or 3 weeks ago, something like that. We sold out of 2018, and then shortly thereafter released this 19. So this one's it hasn't been out for a month yet. So a lot of people, you know, these wines are made with the same grape varieties from the same site, and we're always hand picking while cluster pressing, so they're almost always really light in color, and it's easy to kind of not necessarily, you almost have to taste two of the vintages side by side to like really pick up on the differences.
We got another question. I'm trying to keep up with the questions on Facebook. How do you guys, and I guess this is for anybody and everybody, how do you guys decide when to store a wine for a few years or when to drink it now?
If it sells.
Yeah.
Want me to take this?
Go for it, Dougie. Yeah, go for it.
Experience with the wine. You know, if I've had the wine before and it's something that I know ages well, you know, like a lot of Chris and Andrew's wines and your wines for that matter, I've been drinking for 10 years now. And some of them, you know, I think are much better now than they were when they were young. Not to say there's anything wrong with them young, but I think Chris would remember, it might be over a year ago now, but we had a poker game, the usual poker night that so many people have heard about. And I brought a couple bottles of some of Chris's early white wines, stuff they bottled in like 2010 and 11 and 12. And then we brought them blind. And I was like, I didn't know what to expect. I hadn't drank one in a while. And I don't even know if Chris recognized them as his own wines initially. But I think the consensus with the whole group was we were stunned at how well they have aged. And I've seen that repeatedly with Texas wines. You know, people send me a picture of somebody, you know, we know or our own wine from 2010 or 9 or 11, or, you know, and they'll be like, oh, this wine, I thought it would be gone and it's awesome, you know. And I'm like, well, I know Texas wines haven't had a quality reputation forever, but I do think a lot of us are making wines that age pretty well. So, you know, stylistically, most rosé wines are not something that you would age. I would probably lean more to like white and red and dessert wines for long-term aging, but there are a handful of rosés that do age well if you seek them out. I think wines with nice acidity, like Andrew's Pickpool, would age really well. You know, if you're familiar with the producer and you've had their wines, I think that's your best bet on knowing, you know, should you buy a case and lay it down, or should you drink all of it right now, or, you know, whatnot.
Hey Doug, I went through our cellar. Catherine and I went through our cellar a couple days ago, and we found probably half a case of the 11 Round Mountain wines and probably 7 bottles of the 12. So I'd love to pop a couple of those with you. I'm pretty excited. It was like Christmas morning. You open it up and like, oh shit, it's so cool with these wines that, like they're at the bottom of the palette. And I'm just like, now we're like so excited to.
Yeah, I think I sent you a picture. We had, I opened 11 up on the mountain for minutes, and I sent you that picture. It was like singing. That one was on point.
Thanks. Yeah, man, it's crazy how some of these older wines have held up, or even really gotten, some of them I think drink better than they ever have, which is always a pleasant surprise. Although, sometimes it's like, man, I wish I had more than a couple bottles.
Yeah. To answer that person on Facebook, I think it all depends, and it depends on, and Doug, maybe that'd be interesting to know your answer, but it all depends on what kind of mood you're in. Like personally, I have a lot of younger, fresher, red and white wines, and then sometimes I'm in the mood for an older wine, like Corona. It's like right in the cellar. I'm like, we're it's a lot of fun, but to go either way. But it just depends on what kind of mood you're in. Because for me, the fun is drinking those wines over the years and seeing how they age, and just like it's like watching the same TV show. The TV show changed. The characters are all the same, but you get to watch the same show as they're older and developed and a little bit more mature, and you get to watch it over and over again, and you get a different show. So.
Hey Dougie, I just got a question. What are the varietals in the rosé? Looking on the
Karen, it's Sunso, Carignan, and Morvet, kind of in that order, like 40, 30, 20% roughly. I forget the exact ones off the top of my head.
Did you say this is all whole cluster best too?
Yeah, well, so yes, but the Sunso was machine harvested. We didn't have the harvester destem it. So, that went in whole cluster. There's some extraction on that stuff, though. The harvester, they macerate some of the fruit. But yeah, the rest of it, everything else is whole cluster.
Yeah,
and that for me, I think that's key. I think if you end up destemming, you extract a lot more tannin. And some wines that work, some wine styles that works, but I'm trying to make something that real agreeable with the pool come July. So less is more.
Man,
I think alcohol is like spot on too.
Say that again. Sorry.
I think the alcohol is spot on it too. It's like lower, like lets the fruit really still show through.
Yeah. No, thanks, guys.
Hey, Doug, if I may, I wanted to tell you, like, obviously, I think going through my old cellar, like, I have so many real wines, and Catherine and I buy a lot of your wines. I love your rosés as well. But this to me, it's like I'm tasting finesse here that I haven't seen. Like, it feels like you guys are just getting deeper and deeper and better and stronger and stronger. Like, it just. This is like very well put together. Not that your other rosés haven't been. I'm not saying they're all, but this just tastes like you move from the left hand, your right hand knows what it's doing. I don't know. It really tastes like a lot of finesse. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, man. I think part of that too is the vines at La Pradera are a little older, and we've made the wine several years in a row from the same place, so we're kind of understanding like when to pick at the right time. And like Andrew was saying with 2018 on their pick pool, it was real hard to get whites and rosés off fast enough. I just couldn't believe how quick the chemistry was changing in that vintage. And so I was always happy with the 18 High Plains rosé, all things considered, but like 17 I had much prettier acid on 17, and then 19 we got a little cooler, wetter vintage, and acid was there again, and I think I'm starting to learn how to steer this wine through big vintage variation, which initially I think we suffered from that. We hit 14 out of the park, and then 15 we struggled a lot more with. 15 and 16 were tougher vintages. So we've been making the same wine since 14, and I think ultimately that's probably one reason it's getting better.
Yeah, I think we were all there that you picked us because it was in the mud, right? If I remember.
Yeah, I remember.
We were trying to go gut hunting the next morning.
Dirty.
The brain ruined
it. Yeah, man. That was one of the craziest hand harvests of my life for sure. When you picked me up at the Lubbock airport at midnight, dropped me off at the Vineyards.
That's right. I forgot about that. That's right.
Yeah.
Light all night, man. That's what we're doing.
Couldn't do it without a little help from all my friends. Appreciate it, guys.
Well, we're gonna move on to the next wine, guys, and the old guy in the room that remembers, when all of this stuff started. One last note: I get like a crazy cotton candy nose on your wine. I don't know what it is, but that rosé has got I get this weird cotton candy, and I don't know if that's like the Mourvèdre or if it's the Cinsault, but I get like carnival cotton candy. I love it. Do what?
Yeah, me too. I see why they make rosé with those grapes in southern France.
Dude, it took me all this time to figure out what it was, man. But I got to tell you, Dougie, that's what it is. It makes me want to put my nose to it. It's a fat kid loving cotton candy. Well, next, guys, we're going to William Chris Sangiovese from 2017 from the Phillips Vineyard. Chris, take it away, man.
So these are from first of all, 2017. I don't think any of these guys would disagree with me. 2017, both in the Hill Country and the High Plains, was one of the most phenomenal vintages of my career. One of my phenomenal and favorite. I think we've made some pretty phenomenal wines over the years. But 17, especially coming off of 16, which was in the High Plains, it was very challenging. And the 17 High Plains wines were just outstanding, as well as the Hill Country. But this comes from the Tony and Madonna Phillips. I have a lot of favorite growers, but these guys are near and dear to my heart. As Doug knows, the harvest on that, and Tony makes some incredible food on harvest nights. More importantly, they're really dedicated to their vineyard, and their attention to detail is really incredible. We're planting Mourvèdre with them, which I'm pretty excited about. But this little 5-acre block of Sangiovese became available, and we jumped on it. And actually, the reason that we started making this wine is because Doug tasted some of the Phillips wines, Phillips Vineyards wines, and from Doug and Ray Wilson, and really fell in love with them, and was so happy to get it over there. And this is our first vintage with them. So we did probably about 15% Saigney, which means to bleed. So you guys have all seen us up in High Plains. We do this hillbilly rig where we drain machine harvest information as soon as they harvest, or as soon as we dump into the bins, we're bleeding off the juice, the excess juice in the bins to make rosé out of it. And most of the goes into the blood off rosé goes into our but this so I think you're probably looking at 15 to 20% Saigney, which the Phillips do crop control. You're looking at probably five and a half tons to the acre. I think it's balanced really well. I know you asked a lot of different winemakers, we give a lot of different answers. But to watch the Phillips and what they do, I think we're incredibly balanced. Does it benefit from the Saigney? Absolutely. I think we're making a little bit more of a and not very much oak on this, only about 20% new oak. But it comes out. You get a little kiss of oak, you get a lot of fruit, a lot of cola, right away that this is a High Plains wine. And what's cool is this wine is just about, it's 2 sections over, 2 sections over your section here. So 2 miles south of Lost.
Yeah, probably about, actually close to Lafayette.
But I'm talking about off. So off of It's 2 miles south of La Riviera, but of Lost Draw. La Riviera is right off the draw. So a lot of people don't know, but there's a whole number of draws in the High Plains, which is really, really interesting. We're talking about the Lost Draw, which actually just runs straight across the county. But we have Lost Draw Vineyards and then La Riviera Vineyards, which are both really, really close to the Lost Draw. And then Phillips Vineyard is 2 miles south. And I will say for all the fans out there, if you dig this, you should also try some Touriga. Do you make a red Touriga anymore, Doug? Or does it all go to
That's from Mike.
No. So the Touriga, we have like a Touriga Rosé from the Phillips, like available right now. It's an awesome little wine. We do make a red with it. The 18, probably like pre-COVID, I think it would have been released by now. It's set for release sometime, in the next, I think the wine's improving in the bottle, so I'm not in a big hurry to get it out. But actually, we've been using a fair amount of their Touriga for a port program too.
Very cool. Well, and thank you, because Doug, I think you've reports traded some Touriga for a couple of years, and I really appreciate that. And so it's funny, our winemaker actually is starting his own brand. For all of your William fans out there, you can check out Tony's brand. It's going to be released. It's still in bottle. I think he's getting pretty close to, or still in barrel. I think he's getting pretty close to bottling it. But Tony and I are huge Touriga fans. We get a little batch of Touriga from Dan McLaughlin, who actually just walked in. And we've got some bits and pieces for him. And I would love to make Touriga every month. I think it's the most underrated grape in Texas. It's a pain in the ass to grow, but it's like the winemaker's wine. I just love it. So,
yeah,
this is
with you there.
This man, Chris, this Sangio, I've been like eagerly waiting to open this bottle. I got to make my first Sangio in 18, and it kind of threw me off. It was just strange and awkward, but turned out nice. But this reminds me, and again, I'm going back to like what I know of Sangio, right? Like this reminds me of like a European Sangio, like an Italian Sangio. The earthiness, the rusticness in the nose is nice, dude. Like, one thing I noticed, I don't know if you guys, did you guys notice, like, making it? One thing that I learned and noticed making Sangiovese is, like, right at the beginning of the first lag phase, like, right at the end of the first lag phase, it smelled like pepperoni, which is really weird to me. And I thought I totally screwed it up. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, I totally screwed this wine up. It smells like pepperoni. I don't know what like, holy shit, I don't know what the hell this is supposed to smell like, because I've never made Sangio, but it smells like pepperoni. But by the end of the fermentation, it just like all melded and came back together. And like the earthiness that's in this wine reminds me, like, just completely reminds me of that. I like it, man.
Yeah, we make a ton of Sangiovese. It's like become one of our like staple wines. We actually did like 40 tons of it last year, which is about a fourth of our entire harvest. And
that's awesome.
It seems like one of the grapes for Texas, especially, that even when the crop load, it wants to crop like great. Like it wants to throw on like 10 tons the acre if you let it. But I mean, it'll hang. I mean, we harvested stuff at 6, 7, 8 tons the acre and still made like fantastic wine out of it. And it's like every year it's consistent. It doesn't take a lot of, most of our stuff goes into neutral, but what I love about it is every little bit of oak you get really, it integrates so well with the wine and like really kind of showcases the fruit. And I don't know, it's just been a wine that I think is so suited for Texas, like from a growing standpoint. It's like it's like Old Faithful. Right? We've had so many different things over the last years in the High Plains, especially just temperature variation, different swings, different like harvest intervals, like our weather during ripening, during fruit set. Sangiovese is like always there. It's always hanging a crop. It's almost like orange muscat. Like but nobody wants one from us. But like for red grape, like it's super solid, and we've made good rosé out of it, good red wine out of it. It's just really versatile, and it like goes so well with everything that we eat here in Texas. And it's nice and light.
Mm-hmm.
It always holds good acidity. It really shines through for. I mean, it's just good.
I absolutely agree. I think
Texas, it's a Texas staple. I think it should be in every.
Yeah. 30% of our, or 25 to 30% of our production now.
It's a killer wine, man. I love Sangiovese, and it's like I've always been one of those like you can't really. For years, you know, I was like Tannat, Petit Syrah, Sagrantino. But the more I've been coming across some of these like heritage varietals, man, I've been my mind has been changed many times. I love this wine, Chris. Like it's really good.
Well, thank you. The clonal selection is really interesting too. You know, I think this is it's either clone 8 or clone 30. But I've noticed that there's Dustin Timmons did a lot of cloning of this and recommended a lot of different clones, and he did a really great job because he really put some good clones in our clones that we're seeing.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing how much clones make a difference. I mean, we all of us on this Zoom know that, right? But like, I don't know if everybody out there in the wine world knows how important clones are. Like, I was looking at Vineyards this week that, like, you know, clonal selection and rootstock has made all the difference in like what's here and what's not here, you know. And over the years, like in the hill country, I've watched things like after year 8, year 9, year 10 crash because of either the clonal varietal or the clonal like combination with rootstock that was like supposed to be early on what was really important. But
you know, John, it should be noted too that we make some pretty incredible Sangiovese from the country too. I think that,
yeah.
We're actively looking at planting more of it too. It's been a great product.
Nice. I've got a question. Dougie. I got a question on Facebook here. Is there and I'm gonna. I mean, it's kind of. I guess somebody's got a loaded question, but is there a trend in Texas wines to be equivalent to Chianti, quote unquote, Classico style, or that of notoriety? I mean, I'm gonna Chris, just real quick. Like, I think we're making as good of wines, if not better, than a lot of places where they classically come from. So, I mean, I can speak to some varietals that I've worked with for over a decade now. But I mean, what would you guys think? I mean, I don't think we're like trying to make wines that are like they come from a certain place, right? They may have some attributes because of the varietal itself, but I think we're making probably better wines in a lot of ways. What do you guys think?
Well, first of all, we're not trying to, make Italian style wine. We're not trying to make California style wine. We're trying to grow Texas wine. And I think that's really important for our viewers out there is that, Mason County tastes different. Brownfield tastes different. Terry County, Gillespie County, Blanco County, all these different areas of the world taste totally different. And that's what's so phenomenal about site selection and these different areas of the world. And, we're starting to really see, I think, this, like we're starting to run away with it a little bit. We're starting to get in our own, like tasting Doug's rosé. It's like you're feeling this comfort level and this, like, he's digging in a little bit. Same thing with this pick pool. I think this is my favorite. Yeah, Sangiovese, same thing. You're seeing like everybody's starting to, we're starting to like just get in our group more and then push them up forward. And you got to remember that 10 years ago, we were all like kind of starting out. And so you're seeing a lot of people really just hone in their skills. I know that when Chris, we think that we have we're always trying to get better. And every vintage is different. So I think the question about, are we honing in on style? Yeah, a little bit. Like sometimes we'll dive a little tab into this, but we're all about showing where wines grow. And I think that's what's really important. Important to our value system. Maybe not the same for every brand, and that's okay. But that's what we do. grower and where things come from is super important to us.
Yeah, I agree. Dougie, what do you think of Sense of Place, man? What do you think we're doing as far as what we're creating? For
Doug doesn't care about Sense of Place.
I love that I can ask these canned questions.
God, like I this is the question to ask on this wine specifically because I have not made Sangiovese in Texas other than like one macro bin, and it was co-fermented with something else in 2013 just to like fill up some bins. So I've never really gotten to make my own, and I love Texas Sangioveses. You're looking at somebody who spends like 4 to 6, 7 hours once a week making some bolognese, and Sangiovese is like perfect with that. I was thinking that on this one, Chris, like I threw in some smoked Italian sausage with it just to marry with because I think this one, it showed like a touch of oak, like you were saying, but I think that's just because 17, that vintage is so good. It's drinking so young. Like I get a real bright, nice core of like red cherry fruit in there that I think would be awesome with any tomato-based pasta really, but particularly like a nice smoked sausage-based bolognese with this Sangiovese, I think would be awesome. I've been drinking Lost Straw Sangiovese, the William Chris one from Clank, the William Chris one from Phillips. I love Texas Sangiovese. K-Mac's been making some really great ones through the years. It's something I've always thought that we're missing the boat on not doing. You know, do I think we're like on par with a place that has a tradition of doing it that's really, really old, and they have vineyards that are older than me. And, you know, I mean, like Chris was said, if our wines have gotten a lot better in 10 years, imagine if we've been doing this for 100 and all of us learned from somebody who knew what the hell they were doing. So, you know, I don't get into comparing ourselves to the classical regions in a sense of like, are we delivering on value on every single bottling every single time, you know, as an entire state? You know, of course not. Like we got producers in Texas that mess up all sorts of stuff, and you know, like we're a young region, but I think the best Sangioveses made in Texas have loads of potential and have all the sense of place you could ever want in a wine.
Nice. Well said, Dougie. Well said, buddy. Well, we're gonna move on to something near and dear to my heart here. It's 6:53, and I've talked us close to the end of this thing. So we're going to move on to the Kerrville Hills, 100% hill country Tannat. I mean, I know a little bit about Tannat, maybe not as much as some of you guys, but I mean, I know a little bit. And this is from Stonewall, Texas.
Hey, someone told me that you were actually the Johnny Appleseed of Tannat.
Yeah, that's funny because it's on the back. I put it on the back of my label, and I'm going to tell you guys a funny story. I put it on the back of my label because some jackass at the at the Hill Country Symposium, they said it to me as a slight. They were like, "You're the Johnny Appleseed of Tannat." So I put it on the back of my label just because I can, because the guy who said it can't make Tannat. So,
hey, so does that make Chris the Tom Sawyer of Mourvedre?
Oh.
Yes, 100%, dude. And Chris and Bill are the 100% reason why I make Mourvedre. So there you go. Because they kill it every time.
Dude,
So
was that Alan Fetty, by the way? Wasn't Alan Fetty the Johnny Appleseed of? Did he play the first?
Hey, if he didn't go far enough west, Chris.
Hey.
I mean,
I will give John credit, man. My when I was a cellar rat at Pedernales, having a little bit too much fun in this after hours in the parking lot of this upstart little winery in a tiny little house called William Chris. Probably sometime between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m. I was probably one of the first times I met John, and we were hanging out, just us two for a second. I don't remember what we were doing, but I had just gone to Paso, driven out to California for the summer, and got real fired up about Tablas Creek as Tannat. And so I brought that up with John, and he was just like, "I'm playing that shit." You know, he was all fired up about it. man, that was 2010, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
Fired up,
know,
dude. I was super
Appleseed.
fired up. Yeah, and I got to give Alan Fetty, and I got to give Dr. VJ Reddy some love, man, because they actually
Jim Johnson too.
Jim Johnson, that's right. So Jim Johnson planted it the same year we did, but he was in tune. But Alan Fetty planted it the year before we did, and so did VJ Reddy. He planted one season before we did. They planted in 2008, and man, sorry, man. Alan Fetty makes a great Tannat. Like his Tannat was smoking, but Johnny Appleseed, he sells a better story, I guess, dude. Now all you guys make Tannat. So, or not all you guys, but a lot of people make Tannat. So, but anyway, here's this wine, and I'm gonna let any one of you guys can talk about it. Like I don't want to talk about it. I feel silly kind of talking about the wine, being the moderator. So, you guys can just give me some notes. I'd love to hear it. This is grown in Stonewall, Texas.
Screams Rivenburgh Valley.
I love it.
I tell you what, I love it. Just the leather and the smoke and violets. I mean, there's no place that grows not like this that is soft like this. I mean, this is 3-year-old Tannat. I mean, get out of here. Are you kidding me? And like, I don't want to compare this year, right? But I just like look at what we can do in the Rivenburgh Valley. And I've been blown away at the softness early and the violets. You can tell on that. And we've been able to do a lot of the violet uplift of fruit in the high plains too. But I feel like the Rivenburgh Valley is an exceptional place to grow Tannat. And John, I'm sure you can agree. Once
I agree.
You look at that fruit vine, and it's like you could hack it off, and then it would grow back again the next year and just be fine. It's a really great grape to farm.
I've been blown away. This vineyard, man, the Mills family, they're so meticulous in this vineyard. And, Jim and Renee, they manage kind of the home place at Rustic Spur. And then Shara is the vineyard manager now at Pedernales. But I'm blown away, man. Every year, no joke. Like I've got it. We got it logged. It blows me away. Every year we pick this grape, 24 bricks, right around 3.4, 3.5 pH, 6.4, 6.5 TA. I'm gonna actually send this wine off for tannin testing. We're gonna send it to the cloud, to the Ian Artis cloud system to see where it's at, where it ranges. Kind of like the stuff I did with Bending Branch to see where it ranges in the realm with all the big tannin wines. But I'm so tickled, man, just after all these years of kind of consulting and like having my own brand now. It's just really fun to have something like this kind of be our first release back.
I've tasted a lot of your wines from a lot of the producers that you've worked with over the last few years. This is definitely one of like the brightest, like most wines that I think I've tasted in a really long time. Just to have that kind of fruit, mid palate, and everything's just perfectly balanced all the way through. You don't get that real bitey tannin at the end. It's just really lifted and very well done. It's great.
Thanks, man. I think this is, and I actually like. I gotta give some hats off to Dougie. Like, and I know all you guys work with extended maceration, but one of the first guys that was really doing like long extended macerations that I remember talking to Doug and Duncan in 2013, maybe 2014, talking about the really long extended macerations that they were doing. And like I was kind of scared about doing super long extended macerations just because like coming out of the cryo stuff we were doing, it kind of just, it scared me, right? To be as long sitting, like the work that had to go into it. But this wine, man, this is an ode to the super long extended maceration. Like, so this wine set like 60 days. And I know, Chris, talking to Tony, you guys have done some super long extended macerations also, but
that's totally a Dougie fresh.
Yeah. And it's Dougie. I mean, and that's where I got the super long extended maceration from Dougie, and I've been really happy with, I think I would owe that,
So how long was this?
This was
that's what I want to know.
This was like right at 60 days.
Wow.
Any ox?
In bin. This is like right at 60 days in bin, like wrapped in plastic, gassing, no punch down, just kind of like praying to the whoever God of your choice that it would like make it through. And so, yeah. And I got to give a shout out. Like, so we also did, like the Rustic Spur, so Vintner's Hideaway, we also did the Rustic Spur. The Rustic Spur is a 30-day extended maceration, and it's really great. Like, it's actually got more fruit to it. I think the fruit on this one is a little bit more muted.
Did you blow off the seeds, John? Or
what's that?
Did you blow off the seeds or no?
No. I kept seed tanning, man. This has got full seed tanning. Like, we pressed this all the way up to almost 2 bar. Like, I was going for a massive, like, tannin extraction on this thing. And it, like, even as hard as we pressed it, it's still, because of the EM, it's just super, super soft. And I think that's the only thing I can owe it to, right, is to that extended maceration.
Would have never guessed that, by the way.
How old was the vineyard, John?
2017 was, let's see, 14, 15, 16. This is the fifth leaf in this vineyard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, man. No, it's the tannin management's like that. I'm like with Chris, I'm sitting here scratching my head like 60 days. Yeah, I'm surprised it's not chewier. This one's super, super elegant for that kind of extraction. I look forward to drinking some of this down the road.
Thanks. Well, I'm going to throw this out there. If anybody wants, Lindsay's getting ready to cut us off, and I'm gonna mute Lindsay because I'm the VP and I can. I'm gonna throw. Yeah, Andrew, you were there. Like, Chris, you've been there. Like, you know how it is. I'm gonna throw this out. Like, I would love, like, I need a case. I'd like to get cases, and if any of you guys want to trade case for case, I would happily. I'd happily do that because I'd love to get all these wines in my cellar.
Hey, John,
yeah,
I'm going to do that, but I also want to, why don't you give the boys down in High Texas a little Rustic Spur fruit? Come on, man. What are you afraid of?
Well, horse trading.
Yeah, if we're horse trading, come on, man.
Well, we can do that too, man. That's fine.
All right,
but the fruit, I'll trade you some fruit out of the High Estate Vineyard.
Hey, let's see what we do. I ain't afraid.
Hey, I got Tanat from Round Mountain. I can trade a bin to that if you guys.
All right.
You heard it. All right. Challenge accepted. Let's throw down.
All right, let's do it, man. I'm all for it.
Hey, I'm gonna
get on this later.
I'm gonna hold both of you two bastards to this. I hope you know. Yeah.
Look, some stuff in San Saba County, some Tanat.
All right, man. I mean, you know, the beautiful thing about Tanat is at one point nobody grew Tanat. Now everybody's growing Tanat. So, like, I love it.
Thanks to Johnny Appleseed,
Thanks to Johnny Appleseed. Thanks to Alex Reddy, Dr. Reddy, and Johnny Appleseed.
Hey, before we sign off, I want to make sure that everybody knows, like, all these wines are available to most of the wine clubs here. And if you get on our websites of Kerrville Hills and Lewis Wines and Monstron Williams, like, to all the viewers out there that are going to watch this, like, these are some pretty cool wines that mostly get sold out very quickly. So please make sure to get on and check those websites out. And there's some pretty cool wines that are really vineyard driven that not a whole lot of people can see, out to the world unless you know about it.
Thanks,
That's
Chris.
awesome, Chris.
I appreciate that.
Hey, guys.
If you guys are wanting to trade
Also,
cases, I feel like I owe you guys each. I feel like I'd owe you guys each 2 cases of rosé for these wines. These are all really great examples of single vineyard Texas wines, man. I real proud to taste this lineup with you guys. I enjoyed it a lot.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys. Salud. Lindsay, thank you.
Cut us off, Lindsay.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for joining us and being here tonight. Is a lot of fun. We've gotten some for doing the winery. You guys for being here tonight. I did go ahead and post links to all of the wines in our Facebook post feed, and so you guys can check that out. And I also just wanted to thank all of the Texas wine fans who've tuned in week after week and continue to support and purchase wine over the last few months. I know on behalf of all of our members here at THCW, we are just so grateful for all of the continued support that we've had. And I also just wanted to invite everybody to join us again this coming Thursday, but next, which is June 4th, for our next happy hour live. Our topic and panel will be released soon. So we'll have more details on that to share on Facebook and Instagram, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, I just wanted to remind everybody to keep supporting your favorite Hill Country wineries. If you go to our website, we have a link to what all of our wineries are doing right now in regards to curbside, shipping deals, things like that. We also have some information on there about our wineries that have started to reopen. So if you have any questions about that, check out our website, check out all of our members' social pages. A lot of people are going reservation only right now. And so just keep an eye out for that. And if you're planning to visit any of the wineries this week or in the coming weeks and weekends, we just recommend that you give those wineries a call in advance. And we hope to see you out in the Hill Country soon.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Salud.